40% says that being away from home has affected their ability to get a good night's sleep. 74% of international students miss the most out of the sounds of their home.
Welcome to the Volunteer Support Podcast, brought to you by the European Union's co-funded project Promptus EDU, a collaboration between associations Audis Out Mori and Building Bridges. Hello! This is Audis Mori team with Volunteer Support Podcast, and with you today are Tadas and Gabriela.
Hello!
So today's topic is coping with homesickness during a long-term exchange program. So Gabriela, what do you think? Why is it important to talk about homesickness?
I think homesickness is a pretty common feeling when you go away, not necessarily with volunteering. Sometimes you can just go on vacation for longer, and at least me, I start to feel some homesickness in me at the end of the vacations. And I also read an interesting study. There was a study with 897 international students from different countries, Australia, China, France, Germany, Hong Kong, India, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, US, and the UK. So pretty broad. And they find out that 2 in 5, so 43% international students feel sick at least once a week or more, and nearly half of them believe that missing family and friends has an impact on their academic performance, and 40% says that being away from home has affected their ability to get a good night's sleep. So I think it really affects people, and therefore it's needed to talk about it more. Also in that study, an interesting conclusion came out that 74% of international students, they missed the most out of the sounds of their home. So that was pretty interesting, because that's not the first thing that I'm thinking of when I'm homesick. And also, despite all the initial challenges of moving abroad, students overall evaluated their experience as positive.
Okay, so what you mentioned about having some difficulties falling asleep or some impacted academic performance, probably it's related with stress, with some tension, because to concentrate or to fall asleep, you really need to relax. So probably that's kind of a feeling, emotion in the body that people feel. And it's understandable if you are not in the familiar place, if you're not feeling calm, that you may feel tension. So what is homesickness? Homesickness is a complex emotional state caused by being away from home for an extended period. It's a feeling of intense sadness, longing, and missing familiar things like family, friends, routines, and the native environment. It's important to remember that homesickness is perfectly normal, especially during a long-term exchange program. But some people may feel homesickness just after one day or a weekend. Some people will not feel homesickness even after a couple months or half of the year or a year. So it is a huge variety. But either way, it is normal to feel it. It is normal to not feel it. What emotional and psychological effects can homesickness bring? People may feel sad, lonely, and miss loved ones. Also, sadness can even lead to anxiety and worrying about fitting in, and that you are missing back home everything that you had. It can be tough to focus on volunteering when you are feeling unmotivated and down. On top of that, you might feel irritable, frustrated, or even have trouble sleeping or eating because of the stress or adjustment to a new environment. So it is important to acknowledge these feelings and take steps to manage them. Remember, listeners, that homesickness doesn't have to define your experience. By embracing coping strategies and building a support system, you can overcome these challenges and thrive on your exchange program. And the history of homesickness is quite interesting, as before people was not traveling a lot. And you can't be homesick if you're not far away from home, if you're not emigrating, or if you're not leaving your own village or town. But as the travel mobility increased, much more people was feeling homesick. And actually people that emigrated from Europe to United States, or the ones that was taken from Africa to United States, was missing home, and some people was even coming back home. So that's quite natural that some people are better to adapt to a new place. They have more flexible personalities, they just find new routines quicker. And some is just missing like the sounds of that place, the smell of that place, the people, just the behavior of that place, how everyone is together living there. But when you are traveling abroad and you are already in another place, there may be some triggers that is affecting even stronger sensation of homesickness, or just reminding you that you are homesick. So it can be about missing family and friends. The absence of those close people can be a major source of sadness and longing. Some video calls can help, but it's natural to also miss other people's physical presence. So you can't hug a person, you can't be close by, but video and voice is helping a lot. You may share jokes by voice and just tell the stories about everyday interactions of yours, and that can make you feel more connected. Another thing that people are missing when they are moving to some other place is familiar routines. So we feel a comfort of our daily schedule, and that can be missed. Waking up at a certain time, having a specific breakfast, or participating in a familiar activities can provide a sense of stability. And the new routines in the exchange program, in the volunteering experience, might feel disruptive at first. And not all the time you can make the routine that you had at home the same when you are moving abroad. Even though you may adapt, that your schedule is just a bit modified, but sometimes it is changed a lot and you can't control that. Another trigger that provokes feeling homesickness is cultural shock. So stepping into a new culture can be overwhelming, and there may be language barrier, different social norms, unfamiliar food. All different environment with different cultural norms may take some time to adjust. And this period can lead to feelings of isolation, confusion, and triggering homesickness. And one more trigger is holidays and special occasions. It can be birthdays, family traditions. Usually it is a powerful reminder of what you are missing, as it is a tradition to be together with some people, to eat food, to do some activities. And when you are at that time without those people around, you are missing home, you are missing that experience. So seeing others celebrate at home while you are away can exacerbate feelings of loneliness. And these triggers are normal, and it's important to acknowledge them. The good news is, with some effort, all of us can develop strategies to cope with building a fulfilling experience during our exchange programs. Let's discuss coping strategies with the homesickness. So first is staying connected. Gabriela, when you felt homesick, did you find video calls or texting more helpful in staying connected with loved ones back home? Did communication apps play a role in making that easier for you?
I used to have these video calls and chats. Of course, video calls was feeling more connected and helped way more than just chatting, but chatting is great when you do other works, and just occasional texts from your friends, from your loved ones can really warm your heart. Talking about apps, my mom learned how to use WhatsApp, she learned how to use Viber only because I went abroad and she didn't want it to make the bills of the phone to blow out. And therefore she learned how to use them, and she learned to send photos. Only afterwards she learned how to use Facebook and Messenger. But that was improvement for all of our family. And the apps, of course, help because you can share the videos, the photos, so that everything is happening.
I agree with this. For me, also, video chats, voice messages, or voice calls are much better than just messages. But even the chat has also some part. Just understanding what other person that you are missing going through helps to not miss home that much and to connect.
But as you mentioned about the triggers, I remember some photos was trigger for me that I became more homesick. For instance, my grandmother made the traditional dish of Lithuanian, it's cepelini, and it's usually done in our family 2 times a year or something like that. And everyone gathered, everyone is smiling, the weather seems great, everything seems nice, and I'm not there. So I remember this, oh no, why am I missing this? So it was fine and nice to know that it's happening, but it does trigger some homesickness in me.
Yeah, you had just photo, not the food, not the smell, not the communication with others, like face to face at least.
Talking about coping strategies, it's also important to build a support system. So I wanted to ask you, Tadas, how did you go about building a support system during your exchange? Did you connect more with other exchange students, or did you find friendly locals who helped you to feel more welcome?
Mm-hmm. The longest exchange that I had was half of the year, and it was during my studies. Actually, most of the people that I was communicating was exchange students, the ones that also came from abroad just for some time, but also some local students. Yeah, and we went for some trips, we were gathering to some events. So that was fun and interesting experience. Even the roommate of mine was very nice, and we were able to talk with him about different things.
I think when you start building new relationships in new environment, it's more like you stepping into a presence and the future rather than thinking about your old friends, old locations, old food, and therefore you're building this life that you want for yourself now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Gabriela, do you have your story about this?
I talked to my lab mates and my roommates. I really enjoy learning about the new cultures, and they were from different countries. I had the lab mates from China and Iran and Greece, so I love hearing more about their cultures and them. So it was really interesting. And I did feel like I can connect with them. Usually work and struggling together can bring closeness, so yes. And my roommates as well. We sometimes eat together or just being together in the same area, that helped a lot. I felt connected. I felt like I can share my feelings, then they were sharing theirs.
You had some common things together.
Yes.
So another strategy to cope with the homesickness is embracing your new environment. Gabriela, do you have any tips for listeners who may feel overwhelmed by the language barrier but still want to connect with local culture?
I think it could be hard to have language barrier, but if you have some common language, let's say English, hopefully someone speaks their English, and through that language you can learn more about their cultures, but also it's helpful to speak to international students. Maybe they are staying longer there, or maybe not necessarily, but you can together explore more of that culture and have someone to communicate with and feel more connected. I think shifting your focus from homesickness to embracing this new environment and exploring it more helps to feel more energetic and positive and get more experience that you were expecting probably when you got there, rather than looking back to your home and feeling homesick.
Yeah, so when we are in new environment, not all the time we need even a language to communicate with other people. Body language can help. Trying food, you don't need to learn the language to try food. Of course, you may need to translate the menu, but like Google Translate with photos is translating quite fine. Or even you may use some artificial intelligence chatbots that are even better able to translate menu. Or even if you want to talk with someone, the same chatbots with artificial intelligence are better at translating. You may just translate your voice, your words, you can translate other person and you can communicate in that way. And also you may just listen to the environment, see different colors, pictures, events and traditions, and that is just learned by being there.
One of another strategies could be creating a routine for yourself. Creating a routine could be comforting, but sometimes it's challenging because you cannot recreate your old routine. I wanted to ask you, did you find any ways to incorporate familiar hobbies or activities into your new routine when you were abroad?
I would say yes. So one of those things is jogging. I like to jog, and to jog even to the new place is even better than at home, because the trails that I jog around the home usually it just becomes boring. And when you are first time abroad, the most interesting thing for me is to explore the area as quick as possible. And to do that by walking is a bit slow, and by car you can't really see. So jogging for me was really a nice way to use to the environment, because then you know every little street, you can like run around, you can find a park where you can relax. So it's very nice. Another activity that I may think of, yeah, it's like cooking food. It doesn't matter which place I were in different countries in Europe or United States. I was able to buy the food that I like and cook my own food. And when you are cooking your food at home, even from a slightly different products, the end result can be very similar.
I would add to the food point a simple tip and trick. I do like spices a lot to use in my kitchen. So when I'm traveling, I'm taking some packages of spices together with me. So that's a trick to make the dishes even feel more at home. That makes me warm and cozy inside.
Okay. The other things that I like, that I can think of, is like music. So yeah, I'm taking some music that I'm listening, even though it's on the internet, but yeah, the same playlist. And I may also watch some movies that I like. So I have computer, and it's not a problem to do it in a far away place from your home.
Mm-hmm. And I think if none of this works, you can always seek help. I think therefore there are coordinator, there are counselor of your organization. If it still doesn't work, maybe it's good to consider some psychologist help or talk to your peers, probably volunteers in similar path as you are also feeling some homesickness, so you can share with them and not to feel so alone with these feelings.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And if you would like to explore even more how to feel better when you are abroad, I would recommend for you to listen to other self-care category episodes that we have on our website. So you can filter self-care, and you will see a lot more episodes. And that's about building foundation, what is important to you, to stay healthy, to stay calm.
Loneliness as well. I think it's related to loneliness, this topic as well.
Yeah. So there are a lot more topics that is connected with this, and we have recorded already episodes, and you may find that on our all podcast platforms and also website.
Overall, in our episode, we discussed what is homesickness, what can trigger, why isn't it important to talk about it, and we also discussed the strategies such as staying connected, building support system, embracing new environment, creating comfort routine, and if nothing works, seeking help. So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Tadas, and see you in next episodes.
Goodbye.
Bye.